Well, joining me in the studio now is Zakaryya Abdelhady, a professor of Islamic thought and culture at Qatar University here in Doha. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
As you've seen, Shabab are desecrating the graves of Sufi saints, they're destroying churches. Many viewers would think back to images of the Taliban in Afghanistan destroying the Buddhas of Bamiyan and find parallels. One of the questions would be, does Sharia at all sanction this?
Well, first, thank you very much for inviting. The issue is, it's really when you look at it more in depth. Whenever there is a chaos, whenever there is an ignorance, this is a combination that will create extremism. Sharia, of course, Sharia Islamic law does not allow this kind of attitude. In fact, even if there was something that are wrong, it's not the duty of each individual to take up this responsibility himself. There is the government, there is the state that have this task. So for everyone just to go up and take arms and try to apply whatever he thinks is right by himself, this is unacceptable. That's one thing. Second thing is that as I said, when there is a chaos, when there is no government, when just young guys who have a minimum understanding of Islam, if we say that, and they just try to interpret Islam as they wish, then they will go to do it this way. Then this what happened in most scenarios that we've seen. It was with Afghanistan or here or any other country that when you find no central government is ruling.
Yeah, but these guys are quoting Quran, they're quoting the hadiths of the Prophet. What about these hudud laws? Things like stoning, whipping people in public. What do you attribute that to? Is it all just because the society is in anarchy? There must be something they're deriving this from.
Okay, well, of course, if you were to look at the concept of the hudud, for a start, there is a huge misconception in the West and even within some Muslims as well. People tend to think that hudud or Islam is only about hudud. Hudud is a small, tiny part within the Islamic Sharia. Islamic Sharia encompasses a lot of things, which encompass economy, encompass social life, encompass welfare, encompass all of this, and including this is the hudud. Hudud is a tiny part, and actually, if you look at the pyramid that Islam have built within the society, you'll find that the hudud is at the end result. Hudud is like a legislation thing that people would adhere by and live with, not as the first. You don't start.
Okay, so here's the question: when is hudud valid? Things like stoning, whipping, etc.
Okay, the hudud is valid when you have the proper society. You can't just apply a hudud in a chaos like that.
But these guys are saying they're in the process of setting up this Islamic society.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the pyramid, you don't set up the society. Hudud is, let me just explain the concept of the hudud. Hudud is when Islam obliged or asked people to start in the hudud, is that when the society is at a pure level, the structure is there, the society is pure, everything is ready. Like, for example, in the concept of the Umar al-Khattab, the second Caliph of the Muslims, Umar al-Khattab, in the year there was a famine, people didn't have food or drink, a thief was brought to him. And he didn't apply the hudud on him. He didn't apply, he said that I have failed as a government to provide for that individual his right. So there is rights that have to be done and established first. Once these things have been established, then at the end of it, there is legislation that control and protects the society. You don't start upside down. You don't start with the legislation. We don't have a society. So if there is no society at all, you can't apply the hudud.
One more aspect to all of this, besides the relationship between al-Shabab and the citizens of Somalia, this idea of wanting to spread their version of Islam elsewhere, and some of the neighbors are saying this is a security threat. Yesterday, Mohammed Ado's report had one of their leaders quoting, we're going to take our Islam to Iceland, to the Solomon Islands, South Africa. He named a whole bunch of countries. What do you make of that? Do they have any sanction in the Sharia to try and impose their version of Islam on other people?
Definitely not. Nobody has the right to force. In fact, first point is that we need to understand that Sharia is for Muslims. You don't apply Sharia for non-Muslims. That's full stop. Sharia, even in the time of the Prophet, the Jews and the Christian minority that was living in Medina at that time, they has their own legal system that they were accountable to. So to imagine that people will to take the Sharia to Washington or to other countries, this is unacceptable. That's one part. Another part is that that's why I say that when there is an ignorance, people who have so much ignorance, they don't have that background. I mean, they might have good tendency and so on to feel that there is some problems within the society they want to resolve, but this is not the right way. When you have a chaos, you'll find people who don't have any knowledge of Islam or pure knowledge of Islam doing strange things.
Professor Zakaryya Abdelhady, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you very much.